Hi there, this is Chris. How you doing? Hey, right, that's enough of the greeting. Um, what we're going to be doing is taking the kit bash kit that we made in Hard Surface Robots 1, or whatever it was called. We're going to add to that. Now, don't worry if you haven't got the tutorial. You don't need it. We'll make sure you've got the parts. Although it would be good practice for you to go back and make these things. So if you want to get that tutorial too, I will do so. Now, the pieces we start with, if I just unhide all, are here. Okay, and this is basically an assembly of engine parts, but we also need some additional parts on top of that. So that's what I'm going to model next, just over here. And I'm going to model a couple of different variations of piston, because we do need pistons. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start off, and I've modelled pistons quite a lot, so I don't really feel that I need a massive reference for this. And to keep things kind of neat and tidy, I'm going to work over here. Now, if you're not used to the modelling flow on 3ds Max, it's probably worth getting used to it, because I tend to work quite rapidly when I'm working, kind of making out shapes and things. So for the moment, I'm going to start here. I'm going to start with the base of my piston, and all that is just that kind of cylinder there. Okay, and for sides, oh no, I'm going to keep it an even number, maybe 28 sides. It's quite a lot, but for lower poly stuff, we can always re-topo later, so that's not really a problem. Convert to editable polygon. Okay, hit F4, we can see all our edges here. And I'm just going to hide everything else, so hide unselected. That way I've only got this bit I'm working on. And this will become our piston base. Piston base underscore 01. Okay, just for naming conventions. I'm going to take some time getting this right, because this is going to save us so much time, because a lot of things we're going to build are made from pistons. Now, it's already an editable polygon, so what we can do is either just grab the top here and elongate it and then get started there, or we can start with some beveling just to add a little bit more kind of interesting look to this. It depends how generic you're really wanting this to look, as much as anything. So I'm going to bring that in just a little bit there, then up, and out a little bit, just till it hits that bounding box. See, just there. I'm going to bring it in all the way up to here. Now you notice it started to kind of fold in at the top, because I'm using the bevel tool, so I just undid it so that I could make sure I got it right. Now, if I've got minimal amounts of polygons in here, it's going to make it easier if I need to lengthen this. And what I'm going to do now is just bring that in like this, and then again like so. Try and keep it flat. If you're not used to working with bevels, it can be a bit of a nuisance, but you'll get used to it. My mouse is being a little bit oversensitive, which lets me know that someone's been using my computer, I think. Okay, and then bring this bit in. Don't worry about tons of chamfers yet, we don't really need tons of them. And now hit F3, I'm going to bring this down. Like that. Okay, and now we've got the inward facing part of our... what the hell? Go away, you. The inward facing part of our piston. Okay, so if I just look in there, you can see it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift and grab that, and that'll clone to an object. And this is a completely different object to the other one. There we go. And first things first, I'm going to affect the pivot, center to object, affect pivot only, off. And if I make sure angle snaps on, which it is, you can see there, if it's not hit A, flip this over 180 degrees. Okay, now what I want to do is go to my border selection here, hold down shift, and I'm just going to bring that all the way up like that. Because all we're doing really is just obviously creating the male pin in the piston array. And remember, you can have this as long or as short as you need. Okay, and just cap that off. I really do need a new mouse. I think I'll have to get myself one as a Christmas present. Okay, and quick bevel. Sometimes it's easier just to have edge mode on. Oops. Yeah, this mouse is really not being helpful. Okay, so straight out like that. And then up. And to about there, a bit more. Till we get there to about that. Okay, so now we have the male and female pins on this. So I'm going to adjust the pivot now and bring it all the way to the top. It'll make it a little bit easier for me. There we go. Let's have a look. Hang on a second. Ah, there's a sensitivity button on my mouse. That'll make things a bit easier. Right then, so with these pieces now, I can push them together. And obviously, again, this is called Piston Base. So this is our piston pin 01. And spend a little time kind of getting this nice, because you're going to want it to look nice. And there's different kinds of pistons we can have. So we've got this kind of piston here. We can also have kind of a spring-driven pneumatic piston that's going to act as a self-returner. So there's a fair few different options here. Drop into perspective and zoom. But what I'll do is I'll make that an adaptation of the original piston to make things a bit easier. Now I'm just going to unhide all, because this is all about working with and reusing assets wherever possible. And we can see we've got some assets here that might be useful if we were to kind of strip them and do things. So let's take this, and down here, now as we can see this is all just one area, but what I'm going to do is probably use a piece a bit like that. Actually, I was going to use that, but I think I'll just go straight off and build one from scratch. Hide unselected, I mean. So down here where this is, what I'm going to do is build a normal box, just like this, around about this size. Give it a negative height for the moment. Right click. I'm not going to give it a name yet, but I will soon. Convert to editable poly. Make sure the size seems about right. It does, so that's cool. Just going to stick it there. See where these are kind of lining up? And then straight down. Okay. And then again here. Okay, because we want it to look like it's in the right position. Remember, it's all sleight of hand with 3D, but we still want our sleight of hand to look good. Okay, and we need quite an heavy looking part. So what I'm going to do here is go straight through the middle, do a connect. Then with that connect, I'm going to do a chamfer. Just bring these wide a little bit like that. Then select here, ring, and connect. Okay, now what I'm going to do is select this and just kill it. Select this and do a hinge edge. And I'm going to pick my hinge, so I'll just move my caddy over there. Select this hinge here. Give it an angle of 180 degrees. And we'll give it maybe 12 segments. We can get away with being quite generous in the amount of segments we use. There we go. So just 12 segments there. I'll just click tick. Then delete, because we've got an invisible polygon there that we don't want. Marquee select all of it. Click the weld button. 468 after 64. That is correct, because now it has made it into a solid object again. Okay, some progress. Now down here, same thing applies again. So we go to our polygon, delete this one, and this one, and this one, and that one, and that one. Don't worry, there's a reason for this, I promise. Okay, now with this one selected, another hinge edge, and this time we're going to pick our hinge, I'll just wait for this to catch up. There we go. And then we're going to make it minus 180 degrees. So as you can see, it's now filled that area in. Just click OK. Delete. And what I want to do here is just get rid of all these, because we don't need them. We do need those though. So in here, come on, there we go. Delete. Then here. Actually, we don't even need to delete that. I forgot this isn't a area. Right, now, same as before, Control A, select everything, and then weld. So you can see we lost 2 more verts where this one's being connected. And then just do a marquee select and a cap. And there we go, we now have this single piece here. Okay, that's starting to look good. Now what I want to do, change its shape a little bit because it's a bit mundane in places. So firstly, let's just get rid of this. There's no point having it, so Control backspace, and that gets rid of the verts too. And then in here, remember this is a fast set, so if you're having problems following along, just slow down, watch it again until you get the hang of it. Okay, so we've got that there, which is quite a nice shape. I like that. Because we're not going for a ball join on this, we're going for a kind of an angled join on this. Okay, next, I'm going to make some copies, so just there. And I'm going to thin this one. Like that. And then shift and drag. Shift and drag to the wrong one, didn't I? There we go. And click OK. So now we have the bottom mount here. And if I select both these and just use a rotate on them. There we go. Not quite lined up, so I'll just line them up a bit better. There we are. And making sure that top part there isn't really touching because I don't want it to. I'm going to reduce the size overall of this by scaling everything. So make sure you haven't got local on. There we go. I'll make them a little bit smaller. And because I've done that, let's just reset the X form because I've done some scaling and I always prefer to do that afterwards. Now over here I'm going to attach these two together. And just select these tops. And a lot of this is just about making it look good. Functionality, or applied functionality, is good as well, but mostly we're about trying to make this look good. There we go. That goes in there. Now I'm just going to smooth these out. So if I take here and here, and here and here, I can now chamfer them. A bit less. There we go. Okay, and that smooths that edge nicely. Then down here, on this one, just going to bring this down as well. And again, like that. And that will enable me to then bring this area out. Like that. And then I can just do some minor changes to parts. Just there and There. There we go, and that gives us that shape there. Now obviously we still haven't done any finessing on this, but we will shortly. So let's give it some names, and this is our piston plate 1. Simply because there's going to be so many copies of these darn things. And this is our piston mount 01. Remember, a good naming convention hurts nobody and does in fact assist a great deal. Okay, shift and drag, take it up here. Just flip it over. I always prefer doing this kind to the ball joint, because the ball joint to me always seems a little bit lazy compared to these. I mean, it's a good strong looking shape, so we shouldn't get the effect that it's going to break anytime soon or anything. If you want this end here to look a little bit firmer, you can always scale it up a bit. Just remember to keep the uniform scale. There we go. Alright. I'm going to hit F4 and just have a quick look at that, see how it looks. It's not bad. There's a few duff polygons. There shouldn't be. And the easiest way to repair duff polygons is delete them and rebuild them. So, for example, that one and that one. Rebuild. Same again here. Just make sure there's no duffness. See a little bit there, you see. It's always best to go back and just fix these while you have the chance now. What was it again? Fix it, leisure, repent in haste, isn't that? No. That seemed a weird phrase to me, but there you go. Whoops, there's another one. So we can see that it's probably on the inside there, but I don't mind. Make sure it's selected. There's one there. And then just fill them up again. There, that's much better. And pull back and have a look at these. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a smooth modifier to everything here. Around about 24 I think should be enough. Okay, and then collapse it. And I think we should probably spend just a few more minutes just adding some details. So I'm going to unhide all. Okay, so we can see my original piston here. And I'm going to grab this and just shoot it over to here where it's needed. Collapse it. And I saw something over there, so I'm not sure if there's anything. Nope, good. Hate it when a model gets all weird. Okay, so we're going to use this one on here just to make it look like we've got more areas. So I'm going to go to my object list and just add my selected. And then down here, very proud of the selection tool. It's one of those tools that I promoted and Autodesk made, and I was very pleased about that. Right, so we can see that's going to be too big, so we can change the alignment. At the minute it's like X alignment, so we can flip its axis as well. And we can change its scale. It's too small. That seems about right, doesn't it? Okay, so now we can place it again. And I always have my hand on the control and the Z just in case. The good thing about this is it does make it look way more kind of constructed if we take our time and do this. Obviously we just have to be careful that we don't get any intersecting going on. I'm fairly sure that one looks a bit like it was intersecting. There, now it doesn't. Up here obviously it's a slightly bigger piece. Put them all in the right area. There we go. Okay. And just break out of that, because what I want to do now is make sure I'm in the move tool. Sorry if I just made your little ears hurt there. I'll just... There we go. Make sure these are in the right places. Trying to even up their positioning a little bit. Placement tool is a fantastic resource, but it does need a little bit of TLC to make it work properly. Okay, now back to painting again. I'm going to paint one there, one there. You'll see why in a minute. Like I say, we're going for the whole manufactured look here. I'll expand them each one at a time, I think. So it's locked, so let's go to... There we go, 100. All it's done is just pre-scaled these before I dropped them in. 100. That's lovely. Now down here. The uniformity of parts, you see, really sells the model as well, because obviously with this kind of thing it's going to be manufactured from a limited base of parts. That's the whole point of kind of doing it this way. Right, let's just move this. Hit F3 while I'm doing it just so I can see it a little bit better. Okay, and then just scale it. And again. Like that. And I'm just going to zoom in on my left side so I can make sure these are kind of angled correctly, because that is important. So just move this one and get it in the right position. You can tell where that is just by kind of looking at it. And then the one behind it, obviously we need to do the same as. There we go, and pull back. Okay. Now if we just isolate this again, so hide unselected. I would work by layers, however, as this is just a single tool, I'm not really going to bother layering it out. Okay, and we need to do a little bit of smoothing work here. We've got some edges that are in desperate need of chamfers. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here first to this one, and just hit that button there, get my select tool, get a selection here, and you've got a couple of choices here in that you can actually select by concave or convex, and you can actually change the angle. So if you look, if I swerve this to convex, you can see that the edges it's grabbing are actually the edges I need, more or less. There we go. Add a few more to those. I'm going to make a lot of use of the undo tool, as I frequently select the wrong part. Okay then, and just making sure that I've got them all there, I'm going to go to my chamfer tool, and obviously not chamfer it too much. Maybe 0.03. 0.003. There, that's good. And just click tick. And that really just smooths our edge down a lot, which is obviously very important. Okay, now I'm going to do the same over here. And again, go by convex. And we can see it selected a lot of the parts we need, but not quite all of them. That's okay, we can just go around and select them. Remember the amount we're chamfering by is 0.003. We just click loop, it'll even finish it off for us. There you go. And chamfer 0.003. Now, if you like that rounded look that we just had there, we could also do that. So we could go to 0.01 and click tick, or add, apply and continue, there you go. And then 0.005. As you see, that smooths it, so 0.01 followed by 0.005. We get that kind of gradient thing. We could change this to about 0.007 perhaps. There we go. Gives it a teeny bit more of a curve on it. There we go. 0.13 there is also not bad. I think 0.005 will do though. Just click tick. That closes it down, you see. Okay, now same again here. Okay, getting the edges in here. You'll notice it hasn't done these ones. We can select them. There we go. And loop. And that one. Loop. Chamfer. And I'm sure you remember it. It's 0.002. There we go. And that'll just give our edges slightly more definition. Same again down here then. Isn't this fun? But you think to yourself, oh, I'm glad I decided to get this tutorial that shows me how to do the same thing over and over again. Thank heavens. I'll go straight through there and do a loop. Loop-de-loop. Same again here. Quick chamfer. And it's decided to stop letting me type in numbers now. There we go. Click tick. Done. So easy and yet so effective at really softening those edges, and it'll look much better whether we, keep it as a high poly or whether we redo all the topo and go low poly. It doesn't really matter, it's still going to look nice. Okay, now over here, rather than using the last method, we could also just select these, quick loop, and then a chamfer. Point 0.002, or remember what we did before, 0.01, 0.005, tick. That just rounds that one out a little. Then here, this one's a tricky one because if I loop it, I also want to loop these ones here. As you can see, these ones don't manually loop, unfortunately. I have to come in and do them myself. No bad thing, it doesn't hurt kind of doing repetitious activities. And I greatly prefer the precision of doing things like this myself, given the opportunity, rather than letting 3ds Max kind of try very hard. That's what 3ds Max is good at. Yeah, quick loop here. You can see this part's been selected, which I most assuredly did not want. That's the problem with the loop tool, unless you have your loops set up bay rate style precision. You'd be going to flip this thing up if you try, without realising it. I mean, all we're doing is just softening the edges. Okay, that seems good. So a chamfer, a little bit too much. Just right. And click tick. Okay, now we need to just attach some bits to some other bits. So they get attached to that. And those. Because we want this piece to move but not those bolts there, because that's like a control washer. Same again over here. There we go. That was quite easy. And again, I'm just going to ensure there's a smooth applied to everything, because we need it, because it won't look very smooth. And it only takes a moment to apply the smooth modifier, seriously. There we go. And this is going to feature incredibly heavily in a lot of things that we do. Alright. Nice. I like the smoothness of those top ones there as well, actually. Okay, so in the next part, we're going to be baking a cake, visiting the moon, and seeing some spacemen, and also doing some stuff involving pistons. So I'll see you in the next part. TTFN.